Alright, what's up, everybody? It has been quite a while. It has been quite a while. Of course, you guys know who I am, Dee Hinton of Insane Sports Comedy. Before I start off, just gonna take a moment to give my respects to George Floyd, rest in peace, who was killed by Minneapolis Police Department last week. Also, just a quick shout out for everyone fighting for the rights and equality of minorities in America and all around the world. I won't speak further on that topic. I gotta get straight to it. Now, usually I would aim to talk about something different, but I just gotta get these schedule predictions out of the way. So today, I'm gonna be doing the AFC North, which means we're gonna be looking at the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and Pittsburgh Steelers seasons. Um, I'm gonna try to do them all today, being I have so much free time on my hands. And we hopefully that way we can get through the AFC North today, the AFC South tomorrow, maybe the AFC West thereafter, and then we could look at the AFC playoff picture I already drew out for this Friday. Hopefully we could be done by the AFC this whole week. Hopefully. If anything happens to where we're not, I apologize. But right now, I'm gonna be discussing the Baltimore. I'm gonna be discussing the Baltimore Ravens 2020 season. Now, the Ravens last year were one of the best teams in the AFC and also one of the best teams in the league. The same could be said individually for Lamar Jackson, top five QB in the league, John Harbaugh, top five head coach in the league. But something is just always missing from this Ravens team, and some people don't know. Some people don't know what it is really. I think what they do in the postseason, it defines a bit of who they are, but their public identity isn't always really spat on or sneezed at. It's just usually, how do I put this? It's usually just, it's usually like the Ravens are usually the undertone of most conversations in the AFC, because before, if we weren't talking about Tom Brady, we'd be talking about now Patrick Mahomes, and now Lamar Jackson is definitely in that discussion with Deshaun Watson. But if we're talking about overall teams, right now the biggest discussed teams in the AFC are the Chiefs and the Texans, the Raiders for obvious reasons. But we're not gonna get into the whole who got the most clout thing. We're just gonna get right to the schedule. Week 1, the Ravens would host the Browns in Baltimore, and this is a definite win. I don't even know how the Ravens are gonna lose this game. I've said this time and time about Odell Beckham. He's not the great receiver we all thought he was in New York, and in the last two seasons consecutively, we've seen total proof of that. Week 2 at Houston against the Texans. This is gonna be the tough one. Even without DeAndre Hopkins, not having DeAndre Hopkins is a reason why I predict Houston would lose this game. But I think it's going to be a competition because the Texans' defense is still very great. Now, the offensive line for Houston, there's some questions. There's some questions there. Deshaun Watson has taken a lot of pressure from defenses. I don't think you could really say he hasn't. They got one playoff win last year against the Bills, who haven't had a playoff win in many years. At this point, the Buffalo Bills are the Cincinnati Bengals of the AFC East. I think every other team has won at least some playoff game in the 21st century. The Bills just haven't made it happen yet. But the Texans overcoming that it was only the beginning, obviously. And what they walked into next week going against the Chiefs, the Texans had a great lead, but they got too comfortable. And I feel like the Texans are famous for getting far too comfortable against teams that they should really be keeping their feet on the pedal against. The Ravens are one of those teams. I think the Ravens go 2-0 after visiting Houston. The Ravens versus the Chiefs. Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs face the Baltimore Ravens. Honestly, we're not even going to talk about QBs. We're not even going to talk about head coaches. The Ravens defense is far, far stronger than the Kansas City Chiefs defense. This is the game that is going to determine how tough the Ravens really are. Because now, after beating the Browns and the Texans, you got one game at home and one game on the road, you already won. If you can defend home turf against the Super Bowl champions, it would mean everything. And I mean everything to how serious teams would take you early out, especially in week 3 in the beginning of the season where most teams aren't figured out. I feel like the Ravens are going to have that strong reputation early out when they beat the Chiefs. I'm not saying if, I'm saying when, because that Ravens team is going to give Patrick Mahomes a lot of pressure. The Chiefs' offensive line is one of the best offensive lines in the league. We usually don't talk about the Chiefs' pass protection. It's very, very great. But something just tells me that the Chiefs are just not gonna. I don't think they're gonna come away with a W against the Ravens. I really don't think it's gonna happen, especially in Baltimore. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, it very well could. It very well could, but I'm predicting it doesn't. Next week at Washington against the Redskins, another easy W. So I have the Ravens going 4-0. Going in, I mean, hosting Cincinnati, week 5, another division rival. They would have a W 5-0. At this point, the only rival they haven't faced in their division is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have made a lot of changes to their locker room. Now, week 6 at Philadelphia, I picked this to be the loss. Now I know what you're thinking. The Ravens beat the Texans and the Chiefs, but they lose to the Eagles. I'll tell you this: the Eagles had probably more injuries than probably anybody in their division last year. But they still came away with the postseason. I feel like the Eagles just find the strangest ways to win games against the strangest opponents. And this Ravens team, 5-0, walking into Philly, I feel like they're gonna get a little too comfortable. Um, if whether or not the Philadelphia still has a huge quarterback question, don't get me wrong, but this is gonna be, but I think this might be the shocker for the Ravens. This might be the game where everyone thinks, oh, it's the Eagles. It's the Eagles. They're not really gonna do much. Let me tell you something about Philadelphia. One thing we know about Philadelphia in sports: they don't care who's up against them. They're gonna fight to the finish. And the Ravens are a team that's gonna fight to the finish. It's gonna come down to second. It's gonna come down to the secondary, which the Ravens are much greater at, anyways. But I feel like Lamar Jackson is gonna have so much pressure. He's gonna be kept in the pocket. And Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, they can work in the pocket. Lamar Jackson can't work in the pocket for a consecutive quarter or two. He has to run. He has to keep his feet moving to deliver the ball or to get first downs. I feel like, and I feel like the Ravens running game still has a little bit of questions, but just as much as the Eagles running game does. I could have predicted this to be a tie, but I think the Eagles are going to come away with the win. I mean, if you don't like my prediction, you could go in the comments or make a better prediction yourself. But the Ravens go 5-1. They go back home against Pittsburgh, so now they have their first road loss, and against the Steelers, they're going to have their first home loss. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, they didn't make the playoffs last year. Why would they beat the Ravens week 7 in Baltimore? I'll tell you why. If Big Ben is back with that defense, with the with the with Juju Smith-Schuster, I know Ben Roethlisberger is going to look like a one-trick pony, but this Steelers defense is very, very underestimated. I feel like the Ravens again are going to be comfortable. They're going to face. They're going to have another opponent that's a little under the radar. That's going to come up and shock them. Another team that's under the radar, the Colts, that they face. The Colts, where they go to Indianapolis to face them at a 5-2 record, the Colts are not going to surprise them. The Colts are going to lose to the Ravens, because the Colts, and I'll say it and say it and say it again. Yeah, they got DeForest Buckner. Yeah, they got T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, they got Phillip Rivers, but it's not going to be enough to beat the Ravens. The Ravens go 6-2. They go to New England week 9, and they beat the Patriots. Because last year they embarrassed the Patriots at home with Tom Brady. So without Tom Brady, I don't know how you're going to expect that. I don't know how you're going to expect the opposite result. Bill Belichick's not going to be able to stop the Ravens. I don't care how smart he is. He doesn't have enough talent to depend on to beat them. Now, we look at this schedule, 7-2. Week 10 against the Titans. The Ravens still have not had a bye week yet. They have their bye week after this Titans game at home. Titans game at home. Wasn't that the Ravens' last playoff game? And you can already see where I'm getting at. And I feel like after coming off a 2-game winning streak, and then having to face Tennessee, the team that took you out of the playoffs, the team that prevented you, from facing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. I feel like the Ravens are just gonna be in deja vu. Lamar Jackson is not gonna know what to do against this Titans defense. The Titans let go of Dion Lewis at the running game, but they have Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill is going to deliver, and if not, the running game is going to be ferocious. I mean, absolutely ferocious. I mean, the pass rush that the Ravens are going to bring, it's going to do nothing but just bring Derrick Henry right into their throats. I'm sorry if I phrased that wrong. But the Ravens go 7-3 after losing to their postseason successor, and then they have the bye week. So after the bye week, they have to go to Pittsburgh. They host Dallas, they go to Cleveland, they host Jacksonville, they host the New York Giants, and they visit Cincinnati to end the season. So, you have to go to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers just beat you. You have to go to Pittsburgh, the same team that beat you at home, and I feel like the Ravens are going to return the favor and give the Steelers a nice can of whoop ass in Pittsburgh. Against the Cowboys, I think the Ravens will lose this one. Now again, why would I predict the Ravens to lose to the Cowboys? It's the Cowboys. But we all know how Cowboy seasons go. You never know how good or bad they're going to be. But if the Cowboys are who everyone says they are, they're going to be good enough to beat the Ravens week 13. So I have the Ravens at an 8-4 record, and before their last 4 games. And I think they win out their last 4. I think they definitely go to Cleveland and beat the Browns. They're going to beat the Jaguars at home for sure. I think they're going to beat the Giants at home, and I think they're going to beat the Bengals in Cincinnati. And that will be a 12-4 record for the Baltimore Ravens. And with 12-4, they will definitely go to the playoffs. I can't determine whether or not they will surpass the wild card round, because I have to do the other predictions, and also the CBA is effective the very next NFL season, which means in the postseason only the number 1 team, the best record, gets the wild card bye. The Ravens are 12-4, but I think only the Ravens are 12-4. But just a little spoiler for you guys, I predict only one team in the AFC to have a stronger record than the Ravens. Who that is? Keep watching my videos, stay tuned, and you'll find out. This is ISC Dee Hinton signing off.